Hello. In this tutorial we are going to talk about symbols, symbol expressions, and binding. The topic has been described on this site. If you are not familiar with these topics, then it is wise to take a look at this site. Next, we shall talk about data binding for compound user control, which is also what we have described here with a sample application with step-by-step guide. Then, we shall talk about how to reduce the number of parameters when configuring a user control and binding by using a subscription. And that has been described here again with sample application. So let's take a look at that site and see what are the differences. Here in the upper example, we pass all user control parameters one by one. So each parameter we are passing from content or view for configuring the user control. Then in the lower one, we pass fewer parameters and are managed mainly by subscription and by a technique that we will describe. And as you see, we are doing that same configuration, but here we are using two variables. And here we are using so many variables. If we have lots of devices, then of course it would be hard to configure all those devices in this way. We need another way. If all devices which we are going to control are similar, then those can be configured very easily. Here is the description of the symbol. So we quickly explain what that symbol and symbol expression means, and how those are related. So, we open the first sample that we used to describe symbols. Also, we show what is data binding, and how we can bind by JavaScript code. So here is that sample application. We have a small PLC program. I show you the PLC program, and which has a couple of 2 or 3 different variables. One of that variables is variant PLC variable, and its type is an integer. We are now linking the variable here. We have mapped those variables already, and now we just create a data binding, and we select the PLC variable and text property. The PLC variable and text property are bound. And when we change that variable in PLC, then that value will be updated in HMI. Let's check with live view quickly. And here is this live view. Let me change that value in PLC. And I change it to, for example, 4, 4, 4. And of course, we are writing the variable in PLC, and then we have 4, 4, and 4 in HMI. That's fine. So what if we don't want to bind this way? Then let me show you what could be the option. Now, I remove this binding by reset. And then of course the HMI value has reset to no binding. And then let's test it again. And this time again I changed the variable value in PLC. And now I put like 1, 1, 1. Of course it is not updating anymore. The PLC variable and the text property has no relation now, because those are not bound anymore. Binding can be done by JavaScript code as well. Now we can create the binding by pressing the Bind PLC button. And now we got the value 111 again. Now if we put like 333 and update the PLC variable, and we get 333, but still there is no binding. Now I unbind it. So now again I change the value. This one will not change on the HMI. Or it will not come here, because there is no binding. So this is like data binding. Or more like configuration of HMI by data binding. This is like binding by JavaScript. The lower button is more like unbinding. You can find the binding and unbinding code for JavaScript under the onPressed event of those buttons. The text property of a text box can be associated with a PLC variable, by configuration, or by JavaScript, and that is we are calling it binding. Now let's take a look at what that symbol and symbol expression means actually. So if we see this, for example, let's say we have these PLC variables. We want to get or create symbol and symbol expressions for the integer type data. I did some experiments already and we have that symbol string here. It is actually like an expression, and now I create a symbol by JavaScript. And then I convert that object to JSON. And I get these types of JavaScript content. So it means here is that expression. And here is that name of that variable or name of that symbol. And content is like this. Symbol and symbol expression are JavaScript objects actually. We can be easily confused about symbols and symbol expressions. Symbols and symbol expressions are similar JavaScript objects, but they are not the same exactly. So here it will be clarified. So here symbol expression variable, and we will create a symbol expression by a new operator, and then we convert that symbol expression to JSON string and we get these types of objects. So here the expression is actually this one. And then the content and then the name, so that's it. If you want to do more exercise or want to know more, so go through this site and also download that application and try it yourself. So now let's take a look at this compound user control configuration. I try to load the sample program and wait a bit. Okay, now I have loaded that program. This is like pre-made, or I downloaded it from the Hemlock site, and so you can do the same if you want to see it by yourself. This program is already configured, so I am not going to describe that in detail. I am showing you what that configuration means. So here is the upper gate and then this lower gate. The upper gate is configured like the left motor, an alarm, etc. Those are variables that are defined in PLC and mapped for our HMI with this symbol address or with this symbol name. Now we have to configure all those variables here. So each of these configurations, as you see, you have to put like index, then left motor index, right motor index. Doing this is really confusing. And if we have like 10 of these types of devices, and then it is really complex and time-consuming work for us. So let's see what this sample does. And by the way, you have to activate this program and then start all motors. So basically, it simulates the motor rotation reading. We can set this motor simulation timer interval. After changing the timer value to a higher one, it slows down as you see. Then the gate name is like this, upper gate 1.1. So it means like the upper gate, then dot, this motor index 1, then dot, and finally the sensor index 1. So gate name, dot motor index dot sensor index. So this is the configuration, or more like configuring the mapped variables. So now I load the parameter shortening version and also the subscription version. So wait a bit. Okay, so now the third program has been loaded. Basically, this is the same, but the only difference, as you see, there is a reduced number of parameters passed. In the previous sample, we had so many parameters to pass, and now we have only 2 parameters. Let's compare that. So this is like the previous sample and this is like the same sample, but you see that there is no difference between the two in terms of UI. So we had so many variables we need to pass, but here we are passing only 2 variables. So what are those techniques? We are using a technique. I am going to describe it now. So what we are doing actually is, we will have an identifier of this user control, and then we are passing this name as a parameter. Then we are passing the root path of this device as the second parameter. So this is like gate 0 and this will be like gate 1. So that's the thing. Those are okay because those are symmetric devices. So we can derive the lower level symbol path from the upper level symbol path. We can open the implementation, then we can see what we are doing at the lower level. So we are taking the parameter that means like base path, and then we are adding these variables by JavaScript concat method. So it's like concat dot and array motor control 0 because this is 0. And then it is like 1, so right motor and then the left motor. If we open this motor control again, then we shall have like left sensor and also right sensor. We are doing that same thing here. For example, here we are configuring this in the same way. So we are passing the parameter .concat and the array rotation sensor 1. So that's it. So now let's run the application. What it does, or it is actually doing, is same thing. But it's a little bit different in the sense of the header, and it is still running that previous PLC program, and you have like this get upper 1, right motor, right rotation speed. It has this its read value. Actually, we set this value with the previous program and all other things work in that same way. But in this part, I think we shall make a separate video on this, but let's see. Stay tuned. Consider subscribing to our channel. Thank you very much.